Guys, we had a mole on the inside of the Syd Barker.
A mole?
And Stevens lined him up too. Let there be no mistake about that. Stevens went at him at 100 miles an hour. He get another go. And he grabs him. He's grabbed Clay on for holding the man.
Do you know I found out last night that Cooper Lord,
I don't know who that is.
so he's a Carlton player,
Oh, of course, he's a
but he was
player.
taken in the mid-season draft this year from North's VFL list.
Well, is that the best bit of trivia you learnt from the best and fairest night?
Yeah, I think so. And I'm running around at 1 o'clock in the morning seeing if someone could try call Cooper Lord.
Wow.
No one rang Cooper Lord for me, for those
Hi
wondering.
guys, Marnie went to the best and fairest last night. This is a best and fairest podcast. It's going to be rogue. Marnie's not fully ready to go.
What do you mean? I'm ready
No,
and
which is a little bit
raring.
dusty. That's all I'm saying. A little bit dusty.
I've got to stop coming on this podcast after doing
nights out.
a big night. Yeah.
Or maybe people prefer that.
You guys let us know in the comments.
Do you guys prefer listening to hungover Marnie or sober, fully sober and recuperated Marnie? I'm not sure which my answer is. I'll put it in the comments too. I've also been busy, Marnie. I built a shelving unit.
You did. We've got big things coming.
Yeah. I'm trying to work on a little other setup for us to film in front of. There's lots of things happening. So we're both flustered. We're both all over the place. We're basically going to be talking about the BNF. We'll talk about who won. Obviously, no spoilers because it's already been decided.
LDU won for those who...
Oh, don't tell me.
What do you mean?
I'm joking.
You live under a rock or you don't support North Melbourne if you don't know that LDU won his first BNF
I live in a
last
place
night.
called Bayswater, which doesn't have a bay or a water. A water? Anyway, so the best and fairest happened. LDU was the winner and Marnie attended. That's the crux of this episode. We're going to be talking through it. It's going to be rogue. I've released a trade episode already. That's the real hard-hitting stuff you guys want to hear. This will be a bit of waffle and a bit of fun. And then I don't know what I'm going to talk about next. Probably the AFLW will be back.
We'll figure it out.
And I'll recoup all of the games in the last 3 games that they played.
Can't wait to listen.
It'll be here, guys, please.
Awesome.
I've been a stressed boy. But speaking of stressed boys, there was 3 going into last night. That's a weird segue.
That was, I can't imagine that would be true, to be honest.
Speaking of
either.
stressed boys, everyone's photo on the red carpet looking awkward in front of the camera. Everyone was looking very handsome. I've already complimented Callan Dawson how handsome he is. Mm-hmm. I think he should wear the suit on the field just so his maybe striking good looks can beat the opponent apart from his football ability. Who was the most handsome, Marnie? Who was the most handsome player dressed on the night?
Most handsome player dressed on the night. I don't know. My favourite dressed was actually a wag. It wasn't.
Okay, give me a player and give me a wag.
Okay, I'll go power couple.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's going to be Aiden Core.
No, it's
Oh.
not going to be Aiden. Aiden Core did look very dapper last night. Toby Pink and his
Well, we've got
gorgeous
the photo
partner
up here,
Chloe. I love her.
Look,
I do love Toby Pink as well, but I just love Chloe. I met her in the bathroom last night. This is how all good
I was going to say, you told me the story before the pod.
This is how all good stories start,
Yeah.
is when 2 gals meet in a bathroom and the first thing to do is compliment each other on what they're wearing.
When I meet Toby Pink one day, if it's not in a bathroom, I'm not going to be satisfied. I'm going to say, Toby, where's the closest lavatory? Let's go in and say hello and shake hands after washing our hands, of course.
Of course.
Yes, because hygiene
first. Yeah, of
and
course.
we could maybe use the Dyson. You know, there's air ones you put your hand in. Yeah. We could use the same
11
one.
seconds and it's dry.
Wowee.
This podcast is just going to be so ridiculously broke. Anyway, yes, I met Chloe in the bathroom last night and I just was like, oh my God, you just look so gorgeous. And this is obviously how every good female friendship story starts.
Yes.
And then love at first sight. So,
Wowee.
and then I obviously saw Toby later in the night as well and he looked absolutely divine. So that's my power couple pick from the Syd Barker Medal.
Wowee. And it doesn't get bigger than that.
No.
Now, Marnie, did you have a little exclusive area roped off for yourself? I mean, you're basically royalty at these functions by now.
No, I didn't.
I don't believe that for 1 second. I don't believe that
No,
1
I
second.
didn't have a roped
A
off
private
area.
booth, perhaps?
Not quite. No.
okay.
No. I was there in all my glory with some friends and my brother and my dad, and we had a great night. Thank you so much for everyone who did come up to me and say hello. I was on another planet most of the time, so I do really appreciate it, and all your kind words. Again, you know, we say this every single week when we jump on the pod. Like
absolutely.
It just blows our mind how many people listen and tune in, and you know, feel like we're really contributing to their North Melbourne experience week in, week out. So thank you so much to everyone who did come and say hello last night. It was very, very nice to meet.
Yeah,
you
and at the
guys.
AFLW game against the Cats as well. A lot of people came and said hello. We even got a photo with someone, which made me feel like I was a Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
Wow, look out.
Yes.
Look out, Hollywood. Josh is coming.
Well, I've got my new fancy haircut.
You
Marnie.
do, and it does look fabulous.
Thank you so much.
I did compliment this last time, but I'll do it again.
That's fine. Well, thank you, Marnie.
Shower you with compliments.
Thank you.
It's great.
Next
No
year,
worries.
hopefully I can attend.
Yes, I think we will get you there next year for sure.
I think so. And
a few people did ask where you were, and they did miss you.
well, that makes me feel bad for not going. Now, I need to fork out the coin. We can do a GoFundMe and get me to the Syd Barker.
You and I can have a photo on the red carpet.
Oh, yes. That would be fantastic.
So sweet. Okay.
All right, let's get into it.
All right.
Let's get into it.
So as we all know, Luke Davies-Uniacke, he won his first Syd Barker Medal last night. I think going into the award night last night, it was pretty clear there were three favourites. We had LDU, Sherry and Sheasel, and that was how they ended up on the podium. LDU in first, Sherry in second, and Harry Sheasel in third spot. What did you think of LDU taking the win?
Yeah, all year, and obviously we know that I've been the biggest turnaround on Tristan Sherry in the history of AFL turnarounds, right? He's my guy. I bought a Sherry badge as well, so I've pledged my allegiance to the helmet. Now, I was always skeptical, thinking he's been really good all year, but how many times was he best on for us?
Yeah.
And I knew that he'd basically probably polled in the most games, him or Sheasel. Obviously, Sheasel missed a couple. He would have probably polled in the most games, but LDU had ones that you could not even deny he was the best player on the ground. So I didn't know who I was gonna be tipping. I was gonna tip Sheasel, missing the last few games. I think that went away, and I didn't really think about it after that. LDU, it makes sense because once again, he was so good. When he's good, he's the best.
Yeah.
You know? But Sherry is so consistently like 9 out of 10. And then he has 10 out of 10s, as we know. But LDU's 10 or can drop back to like a 6. But most of the time he's a 10.
Yeah.
So interesting to see LDU win it. I liked in his little speech, he pointed out Cunners as well.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Little bromance
Very
between some
sweet.
shy boys there. But I really liked that he won it. And I think that'll feed into hopefully signing a massive Mac Andrew type deal with the North Melbourne Football Club.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
It's really interesting from 4 to 10, and we'll talk about this in a second. We'll talk about the top 3 first and the winner. But it's so interesting. I put out an Instagram story asking people who they thought would be fourth, and there was no like conclusive player that was getting mentioned the most. I think it was so open to interpretation. So. I know we know the results now, but who did you think was maybe going to finish fourth if you had to pick someone? It's so hard because...
It is hard.
Yeah.
I thought, people are going to just say like bias. I thought Aiden Cole should have finished in the top 5.
He was top 10.
He was top 10, and that is absolutely justice for him. But I really thought he had such a good, consistent year. I was surprised not to see him in the top 5, to be honest. I think Paul Curtis in 4th probably is right.
Yeah.
I think he had a really great year. I think he always had a bit of an underrated season. Looking at this leaderboard, looking at the top 5, I think that is correct. Like, I don't...
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I thought going into it that Aiden Core should have finished in the top 5. I still am of the belief that he probably could have finished higher than 8th. However, looking at the top... And I didn't really... Again, I wasn't really sure. I don't think anyone knew outside the top 3 where the rest were going to fall.
Yeah, because we'll talk about the top 5 then, and then we'll talk about the next 5.
I think the top 5
LDU,
is
Sherry,
correct.
Sheasel, Curtis, Powell.
I think that's correct.
Yeah, I think so. Powell started so well and then
sort of teetered off a little bit.
But then I'm trying to think who else maybe was more consistent. not many people. So, yeah, I think the top 5 is pretty correct. I wouldn't be questioning anyone else why they weren't in the top 5, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And then looking kind of at the top 10 as a whole, I think there's a couple of players in there who played every game who didn't make it. And it's quite, I mean, there's no Nick Larkey.
Yeah.
There's no Bailey Scott in that top 10 either, which is quite interesting. I mean, those are just two
Scott,
players.
I didn't think about that.
There's no, I mean, Jai Simkin was in and out of the side all year, but there's no Jai Simkin in there either.
Yeah.
So there's a fair few players that were kind of in and out of the side for most of the year that didn't crack the top 10 that you might have thought would have otherwise. I think the most interesting name in that top 10, I think would probably be the biggest discussion point, is Luke McDonald at 9.
I would agree with that.
You and I have been really supportive of Luke McDonald for the majority of the season, and I think his second half of the year was incredibly solid.
Yeah.
And I think he was very consistent. But I think this is probably just reflective of his role in the side maybe isn't so obvious to any of us just watching at home.
What job and what task does he have?
But
game
clearly the coaches are really impressed with him, and clearly he is playing his role because he's been, he's finished 9th on the leaderboard. So the only other thing, and I'll get your thoughts on this as well, going into it, we knew the top 3 were going to be...
We knew the top 3.
Right. But there is a huge difference between 3rd and 4th spot.
I don't know exactly how they rank the votes or how they come to be, but Harry Sheasel on 3. Well, I'll read out the whole list here. But so Luke Davies-Uniacke 242, Tristan Sherry 229, Harry Sheasel 212.
Yeah.
They're the top 3 very clearly. It then drops. Paul Curtis number 4, 140. Tom Powell.
That's a huge drop.
Yeah, 139, very close. Cameron Zerha, which I think is a massive discussion point, 129. Our man Chom, 126. Aiden Core, 125. Very close in this part.
Yeah.
Elmac, 124. And Jackson Archer, 115.
Yeah.
Let's go into the top 3 first, and then we'll talk about the next group of players. Okay.
Yeah.
With the top 3, who were you backing to finish first? So I was thinking Sheasel until maybe the injury. Then I didn't really know. I thought Jerry would obviously be top 3, but I never thought maybe he'd win it because I thought the other guys had higher highs. What did you think going?
No,
into
so I thought he would win it.
Okay.
I thought it would have been
consistency.
I thought it would have been X, then LDU, and then Shees.
Yeah.
Mostly because she's missed those last 2 games of the year. But I think you make a really good point, Josh, in that LDU's highs were like
incredible
and like far and beyond best on ground. So, and he was always in the game at some point.
Yeah.
It's very rare. There's only a couple of games where he just like completely disappeared, but for the most part he either played a half really well or the whole game. So I think, again, sitting here today thinking about it, that's probably correct.
Yeah, I
think it's kind of hard to argue that way that top 5 is structured.
Maybe
anyway.
Sheasel, 212 to 242. Yeah, maybe Sheasel could have got second.
Yeah, I don't think that Harry would have come first if he played every game, even based on that.
Really interesting. So look, congratulations LDU, and once again, hopefully that spurs him on to sign that big contract,
Fingers
which we all
crossed.
think he will, and we're all pretty confident. I think he seems like he's committed. Watch that age like milk. Anyway, the 4 to 10 is more of the discussion point.
Yeah.
So number 4, Paul Curtis, Tom Powell, and Cam Zerha down to 6.
Yeah.
Right? We've talked about Paul Curtis. I think we both agree that's pretty correct.
Yeah, I think so.
Tom Powell, both agree pretty correct.
Yeah, I'd say so as well.
Cam Zerha. Now, it's interesting to see why they maybe would have rated Cam Zerha there. I would have probably put an Aiden Core and a Charlie Combin above him personally.
Yep.
Jackson Archer had better games, but came on sort of second half of the year.
Yeah.
With Cam Zerha, what do you think got him to that position of consistency? Because we know we point out the D's game all the time where he nearly brought us back to win.
Yeah.
He's had moments in other games. Did we not see maybe what Cam Zaha's role was, or is there something with Bull that we're missing and we're slightly underrating his year?
I think we've spoken about this at points throughout the year, but I think our expectation of what Cam Zaha needs to be in this side has to probably change. He obviously does have that game-breaking ability, the way that he did. Almost brought us back from the dead against.
We've seen it in so many
Ds.
games as well.
100%. We've seen it over, quite a few games in his career. But I think the knock on him in the past has been that he's been quite a selfish player at times, potentially. And, I don't really have an issue with that, to be honest. In a side like this, I actually wish, and this is a discussion for another day, but I wish more players would take ownership and step up.
Take the game on. And I think the difference between being, like a good player sometimes and a consistently great player is knowing when to go and when to not.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I don't think he's quite learned yet. But then you can also flip that and sort of say the help around him, does he trust that? Or, are his teammates in the right positions to help him as much as they probably should? Especially with him playing that second key forward role, which is not what he is as a player
Exactly.
at all.
And there's definitely, he spent some time in the midfield and he was really, really damaging then. And then he's obviously just clearly his role is evolving and it's changing. And so and clearly with that, he's taking good instruction from the coaches and they've been happy with his output for the year. So that's clearly why he's sitting in sixth position. I'll be interested to see when we have a little bit more and it's no disrespect to Toby Pink and it's no disrespect to Bryn Teakle, because both of them did play their role as well really well this year and they really filled spots where, we really needed them to. But with the rumours that Jack Darling's coming across next year, with North then going in with two genuine key forwards, it's because, Bryn Teakle and Toby Pink are more utility players and they are that genuine key forward. So maybe when Larky does have the right support, it'll give our forward line as a whole a little bit more structure, and then potentially the role that Cam Zaha is going to be expected to play from here on out will become a little bit more obvious. But clearly they were just doing some tinkering this year and they were kind of trying him in different positions and he was taking instruction and week on week they were happy with what he was performing, and that's why he's been in sixth spot. So again, while we may not understand it necessarily, sitting
clearly
here,
there's something else there.
Clearly there is something
privy to,
and that is why they offered him that big deal, and that's why he signed. So again, it's a trust thing, and we trust that whatever each player has been instructed to do is going to be for the greater good of the club moving forward. So we just need to take that and run with it.
Charlie Comben in seventh. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, me too. I think he was definitely I did think that Aiden Cord finished in the top 5. However, I think Charlie Comben was probably our best defender.
Yeah, it was immediate impact. I think Core as well did start slow. So I said even up until maybe the Hawthorn game or just after that, then he sort of became really consistent. But before early on, he wouldn't have polled very much at all in the first 6 weeks.
5 weeks.
5 weeks. So Charlie Comben obviously didn't play the first 3 games anyway, but basically from that Brisbane game was really good nearly every single game.
Yeah.
Even when he did go forward, made an impact and that sort of stuff. So look, that makes a lot of sense to me, so I don't think we have to debate that one too much.
No.
We've talked about Aiden Core at 8.
Yep.
I think consistency from him is the reason why he's there. I'm surprised. In a realistic world, I would maybe flip Core and Zerha. So Core would go maybe a 6 or at least shuffle Chom and Core up and put Zerha down to 8.
Yeah.
Just with consistency of Charlie and Aiden. But look, we can't dispute Aiden Core became a much more reliable player. And yes, I can see your smile, Marnie. But I think the concerns with Aiden Core we all had were fair, but he did prove a lot of those wrong. And I think we can only imagine how hard it would be being a defender in that back line with the amount of inside 50s coming in.
Yeah.
So hopefully, and I really, really, really hope he can be that guy again next year.
Yeah, and I think he will. I think he's... Again, it's so hard. The ball comes in at such a frantic pace and it's coming in so often. You can be a good defender in a side that still loses by 10 to 12 goals. So,
Luke McDonald at 9. Now, we did talk about this a little bit before, but I think consistency sort of wins out here. And I understand where North fans' heads are at. I don't know maybe why he's become the scapegoat he is, and we're not going to go on about that because we already have. I don't remember him playing many bad games. Is he maybe good enough for what we know? I would say no, because he is a Syd Barker winner,
Yep.
and is a captain of the football club. But, you know, he sort of does his role, and does he, you know, not do things perfectly every single time? Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't think he's the problem. Is it someone to upgrade eventually? Yeah, probably. But he loves the club. He always fights. There's so many games his head's over that footy. I kind of get, when I'm trying to think of other players, yeah, it probably shouldn't have been in the top 10, like we talked about. Simpkin was so inconsistent. But like Bailey Scott, definitely. I'm really surprised Bailey Scott's not in that top 10.
Yeah.
Nick Larkey as well, not in the top 10, especially when Jackson Archer really only came on second half of the year.
Yeah.
You know, they're two players that definitely I thought had better years than Luke McDonald.
Darcy Tucker's another one who played every game.
Yeah. But he's never going to stand out in a game. Darcy Tucker's good game is like, you know.
No, but it's more just interesting for a discussion point. Like you look at this leaderboard and there's a handful of them who missed, you know, 4, 5, 6 games throughout the year and are still in the top 10. So I think, and then that gap between the top 3 and the rest just for me kind of feels like we are getting there, and obviously the signs are showing, but this to me suggests there's still a long way to go.
And Jackson Archer in 10th, really nice from Jacko. I think, you know.
That's awesome for him.
Yeah, great. Like top 10, that's awesome. First half of the year, you know, either didn't get his opportunity or, you know, maybe didn't show what we thought. But then when he got consistent football, he sort of came into his own and exceeded, I think, everyone's expectation.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a Jackson Archer believer, and he even improved or was better than I thought he could be.
Yeah.
So really good from him. Is there anyone else you think is poor that didn't really make it in? Now I'm thinking about it. Who had a better year, Darcy Tucker or Luke McDonald? I think it's pretty close. Maybe Tucker, but I don't know. I think it's pretty similar. McKercher, I guess, missed football.
Didn't play enough games.
There's some players in there that also didn't play all the games.
There's no George Wardlaw there. I mean, he also missed a big chunk of footy. There's a lot of a lot
of names we expect to be in there next year.
We just didn't have a lot of players that played the full season.
Yeah,
like there was quite a few players who, you know, missed a handful of games here or there, and in a year where, aside from the top 3, clearly the rest of the bunch is still pretty close. You know, I guess playing more games probably would have helped them as well. Look, I think that it kind of went to script somewhat, how we probably expected it to. And I'm looking forward to seeing, with a slightly cleaner bill of health next year, hopefully, how that top 10 looks in comparison. It'll be interesting to look on it year on year.
So we had some other awards.
Yes.
Best clubman, Harry Sheasel. I don't think there's much surprise.
No, that's like his award, really.
I think like Roaming Chom was at the BNF, if you've seen the video. I'm sure you did. And
very good.
He's penciled Harry in for 9 Syd Barkers, but probably 15 Best Clubman awards, I would say. That's standard Harry.
Have you heard the rumour that Harry Sheasel's the one going out to to the potential recruits, meeting with them? Like, I heard a rumour that he's the one meeting with.
I've not heard that.
Jack Darling and potentially Luke Parker, which is just at 19 years of age.
Well, who else are you going to send?
Outstanding.
Who else are you going to send, Marnie?
Maybe your co-captains.
Oh,
LDU.
Look, with
Nick Larkey.
Nick Larkey's a good one. Oh, how do I say it?
Darcy Tucker.
No, Luke McDonald's speech, I think he said so many good things, but maybe he seemed a bit nervous in his speech to me.
Well, Jai Simpkin was the captain who spoke last year.
Yeah.
So that was quite interesting.
Yeah. I love Luke McDonald got up there, and I think he represents the club really well, but he seemed a little bit nervous. So let's not send Luke McDonald over to talk to Luke Parker. A couple of Lukes hanging out in a room, but even though there's some Luke on Luke going on, I don't want him to stutter and fumble the bag. Well, send all the Lukes. Do we have any other Lukes that used to play for us? Let's not go down rabbit hole.
No, let's move on.
Luke Davies, Lukiak, I don't know. Anyway, excellence award goes to Luke. Luke Davies, Uniac. Don't really understand what that is. Do you know what these really mean? Like Best Clubman and Excellence Award. Best Clubman, I guess, is the guy who represents the club.
NASDA Excellence Award is voted by the fans, so it's basically the fans' best player of the year. So.
And the Clubman is voted by?
I think the players, potentially, Inner
Sanctum.
Sanctum.
And staff?
Yeah.
That's fair. Shin Boner of the Year Award, the big helmet himself. I think it's the chase down tackle.
They did reference that last night as well. Yeah. I mean, that
sums it up though, doesn't it? So that makes a lot of sense. Community Award. You can talk about this one, Marnie. Go on. Talk about your
It's
boy.
a very fitting send-off for Hugh Greenwood.
Hugh Greenwood's done a lot for Marnie Cohen, and that's specifically why Marnie Cohen is a member of the community, and Hugh Greenwood's contribution to Marnie Cohen's life is the community award.
I think there's a lot of people ask me, and I've said this so many times on this podcast before, why I love Hugh Greenwood so much. I think this is just a reflection on, what a great person he is and how much he's contributed not just to our club but to the wider football community throughout his career. He's done so much work for the Breast Cancer Network and in honour of his late mum, and I think that unfortunately wasn't there to receive it in person himself, but I mean that's a cherry on top, I think, for him, and a really, really beautiful way to send him off.
He's a list manager now, or a recruiter up the Gold Coast? Development
coach on the Gold Coast. So he'll be here for the remainder of our women's season, and then he'll head over to the Gold Coast before the pre-season starts.
Yeah, okay. Best young player. I mean, no surprise. Cole McKercher. I mean, that's
very well
pretty
deserved.
standard. No one else is really in the running for that. He's a gun, and we've got a gun.
Yes,
and
he is.
wow, I loved every second of him. I'm so excited to watch Cole McKercher in the next few years.
Yes.
We genuinely have a star.
We do.
Yeah, so fantastic.
Awesome.
All right. We're going to do, this is going to be a pretty short podcast, but for the last 5 minutes or so, tell us some stories, Marnie. Tell us the hot goss. Give us the word on the street. What's going on down in the inner sanctum?
I already told you about my my instant friendship with Toby Pink's beautiful girlfriend, Chloe. It was a really, really fun night. There was heaps of ex-North players in the room.
I heard this because in Clarko, was it Sonia's speech I think I listened to that she said there's lots of ex-players. Give me some players.
Wait, before
sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, Sonia referenced North closer to a flag in her speech.
Yes,
that was unbelievable.
Yes.
So good.
Now, Sonia, next year I expect you to be able to name check all the admins saying whoever runs that page, she's met him. Come on, Sonia. But good. Fantastic to reference.
Awesome.
And
very,
hopefully,
very great
do
recognition.
you reckon we'll get in the speech one year?
Maybe.
Probably not.
How good would that be?
We'll get Sonia on.
Okay.
You've got the connections.
No pressure.
Yeah, hurry up and make it happen.
No, it was a really, really great night. Like I said, lots of ex-players were there.
Give me some ex-players' names.
Andrew Swallow was there.
Give me some deep cuts.
Nathan Rovat. Nathan Rovat was there, and I love Nathan Rovat. In 2019,
I love Nathan Rovat. Put that on a pillow. Embroider that on a pillow.
That's the most Marnie Cohen.
Yeah, it is.
Statement.
If anyone's got a Nathan Rovat badge, Marnie will pay top dollar.
I actually would. I love that guy. So cast your mind back to Ben Brown's 10-goal game against Port Adelaide.
Yes, a better time.
So that should have been Nathan Rovat's last game ever.
Should have been.
So he played, and he played so well.
Are we talking about Ben Brown or Nathan Rovat?
Nathan Rovat.
Okay, I don't remember Nathan Rovat's performance from that, sorry.
So he played so well, he actually made it. He stayed in the side for the following week for the last game of the season in Tassie.
Oh, no.
Bless him, Nathan Rovat.
So he was unhappy about having to play his last game in Tassie?
No, not at all. I doubt it. He got one more game for his career. But at the end of that game, he, you know how they hand out footies after they win? So Nathan Rovat gave me his football from that game.
Oh, no.
Because we know him.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, this is just
What
his last game.
That's the circle of life.
It was awesome. And then he played the following week, which is great. I was wrapped for him. But so he was there last night, so it was really good to see him.
Swallow's on the board though, isn't he?
Yeah,
so of course
he is. I think Anthony Stevens was floating around, I believe.
Trying to sell some property maybe. Anthony Stevens real estate,
And then there was Ricky Ponting's wines were also on showcase last night, they were really, really nice. So look, it was a really, really fun night. It's always so nice to kind of wrap up the year that way. The players were amazing and just, have so much time for the fans. I think that's what makes North just such a special club. The accessibility that fans have with the players and with the coaches and, just as a whole, I mean, the energy in the room was great. I think everyone, while it was obviously a very deflating way to end the year with those last couple of losses, I think for the most part, everyone is very, very excited about what's to come and hopefully, bigger and better next year.
Watch out when Jack
space.
Darling wins the Coleman. That'll be exciting.
Whoa, that would be elite.
Imagine. Well, have you got any more inside info for us, Marnie? Have you got any more hot
The only
stories?
other thing that I would actually just love to chat about quickly because we haven't touched on. So for those of you who don't know, there is the VFL Best and Fairest is also awarded at the Syd Barker Medal.
Yeah.
It's the John Law Medal, and Jack
Watkins,
Watkins
yep.
won it for the second year in a row. There has been discussion in the past about potentially giving him a spot on our seniors list.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Because obviously we've seen Tyler Sellers was given a spot ahead of the preseason this year. He played a few games. Don't know if he'll be re-signed again next year. But Jack Watkins is a little bit older, and he's proven himself time and time again at VFL level. I think it could be worth a shot.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking like, who on the list would I rather go and give him an opportunity over? Like, you think about Curtis Taylor's or Charlie Lazaro's and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, would I prefer to give Watkins a go than Blake Drury? Probably. But we're talking about like the real end of the list. But I love that people can come to the VFL team and get opportunity.
Yeah.
And I would give him a crack. Only if there's a spot to be had though. I wouldn't be moving someone on specifically for him. But yeah, he's seen like I don't watch all the VFL games, but the games I've watched, he's always doing what he does. He's so consistent and back-to-back winner of that award. So look, it'd almost be a reward for his effort and commitment to the club to have a shot.
Yeah.
At least obviously he's going to have the preseason and then maybe can earn that spot. But I like that sort of stuff. I think it's good to be able to, it's weird the AFL sort of gone away from the VFL program sort of being a pathway to the AFL.
Yeah.
And if they could rekindle that, I know it's very old school, but if they can rekindle that, it'd make people more interested in the twos as well.
I think so. And look, that's the only thing that, is hard. You look at the leaderboard from the VFL and you've got Jack Watkins won it, Hugh Greenwood was in second, and then the gap to third was big as well. I think Finbar came in at third spot. But
interesting. It's interesting with guys like Chet Lazaro and Steve. I mean, Stevenson didn't play heaps in the VFL, but there's a lot of guys in there that should be Cooper Harvey and those sort of names as well.
Yeah.
Like, especially for Lazaro. I mean, Lazaro, I guess we'll see what happens with him with a contract and all that sort of stuff. But if Watkins is consistently outperforming them at that level and winning this award, I know that the other guys get called up and play games and won't get votes for those weeks. But if he's really on that level or consistently better in the VFL, maybe give him a shot.
Maybe. Let's wait and see what they decide to do.
I think that's a pretty good episode, Marnie. Do you have any other tidbits to speak about? Anything on your mind you want to clear off?
No, I have nothing. I'm tired.
No demons you want to air out on?
No,
I
just really want to go to bed.
Okay, well, Marnie's a bit hungover, so she's going to go to bed. I'm going to go and edit this podcast. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the trade podcast I did with Dylan as well. You haven't heard that one yet. But
no, because you literally released it as I got to your house.
Yes, we're recording this a few days in advance. We're banking them for the week ahead. So I actually get some time off after work
Nice.
and don't have to podcast. This is also
you.
why I've been a little bit more slack with podcasting and haven't got the AFLW one out as quickly as I wanted to. One, there's so many things going on. But two, I did a lot of podcasts and we both did a lot of podcasts, but I was on 2 a week, every week.
Yeah.
Now I get to come home after a 7 or 8 p.m. finish at work and not do a podcast.
It's nice.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So I'll do my best to keep these consistently, guys, but it's a little bit more rogue now because I'm tired.
Josh.
I'm doing God's work.
You are doing God's work and we absolutely love you for it.
We've got to get the fix. The junkies need their North fix.
Well, for those who do need their fix, you can stay up to date with us on socials. We are Further North Pod at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok and YouTube. Hi, YouTube, if you're watching. For those who want to send Josh love letters, you can do so, furthernorthpod@gmail.com. For those of you who did listen to the Trade podcast, thank you so much. This will be out in a few days from when we were recording it.
I think this will be out midweek. So,
great.
I haven't decided which day yet, but it'll come out midweek at some point.
It'll be out soon. And until next time.
Yeah, Marnie will be back. Look,
go Roos.
Yeah, go Roos. Look, how much do you want to be part? Well, this is probably something I should ask you off air, but hey, we've known these guys listening long enough. How much do you want to be part of the Trade podcast,
Marnie? Discussing this.
No, it's good. It's important.
At the end, we'll do the wrap up together.
Okay. All right.
Leave me out of it otherwise. I go insane otherwise.
Yeah. You don't seem like you're. I'm so into the trades and everything. It's almost better than the season for me. And I know you're so different.
But there's one storyline I'm writing really, really hard. So I read on this North. We thought we were wrapping up the pod. I read on this North Facebook page, like a fan Facebook page, that North were linked to Matt Owies.
Yes, I've
He
heard
would
that
be
too. I
the
don't.
perfect
Well,
acquisition. Don't
Marnie-
rain on my parade.
Okay, sorry.
I
I'm just going to say we talked about that in the pod. Matt always was on the podcast, so we've just released.
Okay, great. Well, I haven't listened to that yet. So all I'm going to say is I am writing that story. I don't know what was said.
Yep.
But I'm
not
here.
going to tell you.
I'm here for the Matt Owies storyline.
Okay.
If Matt Owies is a North player by the end of this trade period, I'm going to be in love with trade period.
Okay. Well, what I want you to do is listen to the trade episode, and then you put your comments on my Matt Owies opinions down below on Instagram or on YouTube.
Okay.
And we can have a friendly discussion.
Great.
Mm.
Yeah.
Civilised.
You do all the trade stuff, and then we'll recap it at the end.
Okay, sounds good. Marnie wants to not podcast as much. It's her off season, guys. Okay, see you later. We're going to go and we'll talk to you another time when something fun pops up.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.
See ya. Matt Owies.
All right, guys, let's talk some AFLW. So around the best and fairest, we had the Cats game and we had the D's game. Let's dive in. This is episode 2 of me trying to get into the AFLW and my journey to being an AFLW nuffy. Now, I was lucky enough to go down to the Cats game. Unfortunately, a draw, 36-all. Let's talk about that, and then we'll talk about our crushing defeat we gave the Demons. So, Cats first. This is the first time I've ever gone down to Arden Street to watch a game. It was really, really cool. Really excited to see our women's team play because of how good they've looked in the opening game. Now, before we dive into the game, there's one thing I really want to point out that I loved about the AFLW. Love that it's at a local ground. Love that we can get down to Arden Street and watch a game. There's a bunch of food trucks behind the ground. It was like a burgundy coloured food truck that did pies and sausage rolls. Probably the best sausage roll I've ever had in my entire life. So if you haven't got down to the AFLW, go down for the sausage roll alone and then go and watch great ball movement from our team. Shout out to, I don't know who the sausage roll vendor was. If anyone knows, please, let me give him a shout out because it was phenomenal and I'm going to get one of those every single time I go down. For all you Tasmanian listeners out there, there's a franchise in Tasmania called Banjo's Bakery. They do have a couple of, I know there's one in Mornington and one in Terralgan, I think, in Victoria. Those sausage rolls are unmatched. I don't know what's in them, probably heaps of MSG. But that was the best sausage roll, if not second best to Banjo's I've ever had. It's very, very similar. Fantastic. Get down, get the sausage roll. Anyway, let's dive into the game. North were definitely good early and through the majority of the game. It did feel like we sort of had enough and the Cats sort of came back late in that game. It was about 5 points. It was a scrappy game. It was wet. There wasn't the great ball movement that we know that our AFLW team can do. But I guess the rain is the ultimate equaliser. We definitely on paper are better than the Cats from what people tell me and looking at, maybe some of the recent results. I know the Cats were semi-finalists last year, I believe. So look, they're a good team, but this year we look fantastic. The rain is the ultimate equaliser and it made everyone's level drop and it's a scrappy game of AFL football. But let's have a look at some of the numbers here. It was the Jasmine Garner show. Now, she did everything she possibly could. When the Cats kicked a couple of goals late and really got back into the game, and then it started to get a little bit nervy. I even felt through the third, I was like, there's obviously not as much scoring in the AFLW, so I'm like, I think we should probably have this under control. But then the rain sort of came in and we didn't look quite as good. Obviously, that fast ball movement is our strength. And, players like Garner, Riddell and Carney really carried us all day. The disposals and sort of the players who got around the ball really drop off after that. But we kicked a point really late in the game. I can't remember who kicked the point, but I turned around and sort of said to everyone that I was standing around, that's going to be a really handy point. And it turned out to be the case because the Cats were pressing and pressing and pressing at the end. Sort of lucky we didn't give up more, to be honest. They had the last 10 minutes, they had the spell that we wish we had had. So, look, ends in a draw. Jasmine Garner, 33 touches, 9 tackles and 7 clearances. Super Jazzy Garner is a beast. When you've got rain, when you've got mud, when you've got sloppy football, tackling and clearances is so, so vital. So have 33, 9 and 7 on disposals, marks and clearances. Best on the park. Unmatched, really, to be honest. You got Ash Riddell with a jawline that cuts glass. 30 touches, laid 4 tackles, 3 clearances. She's really good in the middle of the park, shifting the ball movement. As an example, like she had 15 handballs, which I'm going to assume was the most on the ground. Yeah. So 15 kicks, 15 handballs for her 30 disposals. She's so good at getting the ball in that midfield and handballing to a good option to give us space to be able to get us to move the ball. So well done to Ash Riddell. Fantastic game. And Emma Carney, it's just a cooler, calmer head along that half back line, pushing up into the midfield, but she's not afraid to clear that ball when it needs to be cleared. Always brings an element of toughness. She had 29 touches, 23 kicks, so she's really putting up Jack Zeeble numbers. But hey, 3 tackles, 3 marks, and got a clearance, but I guess that's not her game. So Mia King is another one to point out, that 13 tackles on the day, just running around causing havoc. And they're the sort of performances you really, really look for. I mean, 14 touches, 13 tackles, not bad. 4 clearances, so she really played her part in it, with a wet day applying that pressure. My favourite player, Vicky Wall, maybe not the best day at the office. Her game against the D's was a lot better, which we'll talk about, but only 7 touches. But a moment, this is probably my favourite moment I've had getting into the AFLW so far, has been watching her. We were standing in like the forward pocket up on the little hill where for you who know Arden Street and have been there, up on the hill, sort of in the forward pocket, on the other side of the building of the main training centre. And Vicky Wall comes from nowhere and just absolutely throttles some chick. It was fantastic, and I yelled. I was like, "Yeah, Vicky!" And I got into it. It's crazy. Vicky Wall's my favourite player. She bullies people. She's my Glenn Archer. You know what I mean? I love Vicky Wall. Campaign to get Vicky Wall on the pod. I'll do my best. Please, Vicky, if you're listening. And if anyone knows Vicky, any AFLW players listening, tell Vicky she's always welcome on the pod. I want to chat to her. She's my favourite player. I bought a Vicky Wall badge as well. So my allegiance is legit. Let's have a look clearance-wise. Yeah, outside of Ghana, a pretty even spread. But hey, look, Jasmine Garner 2 points as well. Oh, damn, that sucks. But yeah, look, a really competitive game, one that we should have probably held on to win. But hey, coming away with a draw, I guess, look, we'll take it. But a little bit disappointing, but in the rain, footy is what it is, especially AFLW being, maybe not quite having the skills of the guys yet. The rain is the ultimate equaliser, and it became like a local game of footy. And you know what? That's kind of what footy is all about. That's why when you look at like a Jasmine Garner performance, you're like, wow. When in those conditions, when, players are notoriously going to struggle in those conditions, and she just stood up and did what she needed to do. So, Jazzy Garner, best on ground. Sucks we didn't get the win, but a draw. My first draw I've been to as well, and it felt really weird. Like everyone was just kind of like, let's go home. Anyway, a few days ago we played the D's. Now I mentioned we're going to talk about the AFLW in the podcast or the section of the podcast you listened to before this. I wasn't originally planning to do this episode. Now I was going to do a separate episode, but there's so many trades and rumours going on, and the BNF episode didn't take quite as long, so we're going to do it here. Okay. Melbourne, North Melbourne. Now this is what I'm talking about. A 50-point smashing down at Casey Fields, 21-71, and we had some performances in this one. Now, I'll tell you who might be my second favourite player. It's Kate Sherlock. I'm a sucker for a big forward. She was presenting all day, 5 straight. Is that Nick Larkey in a wig? Who knows? Kate Sherlock, fantastic performance. 17 disposals as well, but 8 marks in that forward line. She was great in front of goal. She presented well all day. I loved it. I think Kate Sherlock might be my next badge. Really good performance from her. The first quarter was pretty tight. I think it was 13-13, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if the numbers here will be able to tell me that, but I'm pretty sure it was 13-13 at quarter time. It was pretty close, if not. And then we sort of just ran away with it from there and we turned it on. I mean, they barely scored after quarter time. Here we go. Yeah, 13-13 quarter time, 13-37 at halftime, which is outrageous. And they barely scored for the rest of the game, which was very, very funny. This was an AFLW clinic from our girls, and this is the stuff that makes me think, are we talking premiership here? We're not top of the ladder because other teams haven't lost yet, but I think actually we've only played 3 games to some other teams 4. We'll look at the ladder after. I won't dive into that too quickly. But this was an absolute clinic. Ash Riddell got 145 fantasy points. Wow. Is there AFLW fantasy? There has to be, I guess, if they're tracking it, but I haven't seen it before. Anyway, 32 touches for Ash Riddell. This was the Ash Riddell show. She stepped up a lot. 32 touches, but 10 tackles. 10 tackles around the ground. Once again, spreading the ball, 14 handballs, which her and Jazzy Garner, 15 and 14 handballs each. So we had our maestros in the middle feeding the ball. The thing with North Melbourne and watching them play in the AFLW is the ball movement is really slick and quick. We move that ball off halfback very, very cleanly. And I guess when you got Garners and Riddells, Mia King and players like that through the middle, it really, really helps. We move that ball and transition that ball so quickly. Now, my favourite player, Vicky Wall, she laid a few tackles in this game that, once again, I'm yelling when I'm watching it. I'm getting into it so much. Let's have a look at her stats for the game. I don't really know. So, yeah, five touches from Vicky Wall. Come on, Vicky. 5 touches. What are you talking about? 3 massive tackles, though. Now, watching this game, I wish she got around the ball a little bit more. But watching her, she crunched 2 chicks straight into the ground, and it was so, so, so good. Her attack on the football is fantastic. Hopefully, I can't remember exactly how long she'd been out of the AFLW for, but hopefully she can work her way into it a little bit more because I love watching her play. Erica O'Shea also was running around the ground. You know what, with Erica O'Shea, she played decently well against the Cats, but she was a player that I was going into this game and I'm like, okay, she played well. Let's build upon that. She had 7 touches. When I watched the game, it felt like she had a lot more touches than that. Now I'm looking back at all of the numbers. Interesting, she only had 7 because I feel like she was a really crucial sort of link up, like 4 handballs, 3 kicks. I feel like she gets into areas. I think she probably plays forward, right? Forward midfield, I feel like she's always like linking up in a chain. That's really interesting. I didn't think she only had 7 touches. I wrote her down as a note as someone I thought played decently. Another one out of this game was our defender Libby Birch. Injury, and don't know exactly how long she's going to be out for, so hopefully not too long. The club website posted and said she's got a test for her injury. But yeah, look, I really, really hope that she can come back because she's been... I mean, we've held teams to some pretty low scores and we're scoring a lot, and she's been a big part of that. I think she came over from the Dogs, I think Admin 3 was telling me. So, yeah, hopefully she's okay. Emma Carney, 19 touches, sort of doing what she does, 6 tackles, fantastic stuff. It was just an absolute clinic from everybody. Riddell stood out the most. Garner was good, maybe not as much of a standout as the Cats game, but it was an overall dominant performance, to be honest. But you've got the same, I mean, looking at the disposals here and who laid tackles and things, like Mia King again, 12 tackles. Like, she gets around the ball. She's not afraid to crunch someone, is she? Like Riddell, Garner, King, Carney, Sherlaw, all fantastic on the day. I mean, you've got to maybe give Sherlaw best on for 5 goals, but Riddell was everywhere. So it was a great performance. And if you are trying to get into the AFLW like myself, trying to openly put myself out there and say, you know, I don't know everything about the AFLW. I don't want to pretend I know everything about the AFLW, but I'm going to go to all the games I can and I'm going to watch all the games I can and hopefully podcast every couple of weeks about it. This is the game to watch. Go back and watch the KO broadcast or go at least watch the highlights because the ball movement on this team, to be completely transparent with everybody, when I watched the AFLW last year, I had a fun time, but it was incredibly scrappy. And I've said this before about the AFLW and my thoughts on it. I had a great time watching it last year in the prelim and the grand final, but the ball movement this year that this team is putting out, it's tenfold on what it was last year. I don't know what's happened. I don't know if there's new players that we've got that are unlocking that. You AFLW fans, let me know who has made it this way. We had Riddell and Garner and those guys last year. Let me know what the difference is this year and why we've unlocked this sort of ball movement. Is it because Hugh Greenwood's hanging around there and he knows something that we don't? Maybe he's going to go up there and make the Gold Coast a premiership contender. But yeah, the ball movement is quick, fast, exciting, and players like Sherlaw up in that forward line, they're presenting and they're leading. You know, I think who else plays up there? Is it Jenna Burton? Let me have a look. Who else sort of kicked goals and things like that? No, she's the midfielder. Yeah. She's got a look in her eye that she'll kill someone on a football field. Watching her play at Arden Street, she had a couple of possessions on the wing that I was just like, she's a bit scary. She's not afraid to hurt somebody. Sorry guys, Talia Randall, I think, is the name I'm thinking of, our second forward. Our forward line functions well. Talia Randall also in the D's game, like, would get the ball and mark the ball around that like forward 50 area and then just sort of set it up and found Sherlaw with a really good kick as well. So our forward line seems to be working quite well. I kind of like that there's not as many players on the field as well. I kind of think it leaves it more open and makes the run a little bit nicer. But yeah, look, fantastic performance from the girls. Who have we got next? Let's look at the ladder and the next fixture. I think we got the Power. We got the Power Friday at 5 p.m. That sucks. I can't watch the game. That's unfortunate. I have to watch the replay. Anyway, I'll still be at work. I work till 7 on a Friday, and then the prelim's on. So that's got to take priority, but I'll go back and watch that, and we'll do another report on it. But yeah, when is the next? I'm going to find the next home game that we can all go to. I mean, that one's in Melbourne, the next game, but Mission Whitten Oval. Now, tell me this as well, AFLW fans. So why are we playing Port Adelaide, but we're playing it at the Whitten Oval? Because that's where the Bulldogs play. So why aren't we playing it at Arden Street? Or in Adelaide? Does Port Adelaide not have a home ground? That is very, very strange. Anyway, what's the game next week that we can all go to? Icon Park. We're playing the Blues. That's a Wednesday. Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. I can't go to that one either. I work. Damn. Okay, hang on. Let's find a game at a good time on a Sunday, please. Arden Street against the Dogs. Saturday, Oh no, I can't go to that one either. Saturday, I work till 3. Saturday later afternoons or Sundays, please. Sunday down in Tassie. Wow, I can't go to a game for ages. This sucks. I'm going to have to watch it on TV. I don't know if this is good podcasting, guys. We're literally about to finish up here. So, sorry about this. I'm just trying to find the next game I can go to. I guess we do play a few games in Hobart. That'd be cool. North Hobart Oval is cool. It's such an old school ground on like the side of a hill. It's if you ever get a chance to go, please go. Playing the Swans down there. I need an Arden Street game late on a Saturday or on a Sunday. We're at Windy Hill against the Bombers. We could go out there and smash the Bombers. Sunday, the October 20th, Windy Hill. We're playing the Bombers. I'll do my best to get out there. I want to go to Arden Street and get the sausage roll again. Norwood Oval, and there's only 10 rounds in the AFLW. Okay, so we're going to play the Suns in the last round at Arden Street. That's the next one. All right. Well, we'll try and get to more than just get to the last round. Fun. We'll be in finals anyway, guys. Anyway, that was all for podcasting the last few minutes. Let's look at the ladder and then we will finish this up. Okay. AFLW ladder. We're sitting 5th. Interesting. We've only played 3 games though. So if we win, we'll jump up. We'll jump up pretty. Oh, okay. So we'll jump up to 3rd. The Crows and the Saints have won every single game as well. So it'd be very interesting. Okay, so not every team... I mean, I did know this, but I'm really just realising it again now. Not every AFLW team plays every team at least once. So there's only 10 rounds, but there's 18 teams. Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm learning a lot, guys. I've learnt a lot tonight. I really enjoyed watching those games. Scrappy against the Cats, but a clinic against the Ds. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I'm going to try and do the AFLW episodes maybe every couple of weeks or so. I really want to try and give myself a little bit of a break from podcasting all the time, but all the trade and free agency stuff coming up, there's going to be a lot going on. So I'll do my best to cover the AFLW. Hopefully every couple of episodes a month, recapping all the games that we play. I'll watch them all. We'll give you a bit of a rundown. I'll try and get Rashaan back on and we can talk about it. And when we're going to games, if we get to the Windy Hill one and the last round at Arden Street in the finals, we'll message, we'll message you personally. That's going to be a lot of messages. I'll put out on the story on Instagram that we're going to be there and hopefully everyone can come and say hello to us. So thank you for following along. Hopefully you enjoyed the AFLW. Please remember, I don't know everything about the AFLW. I'm doing my best to get into it. I'm on a journey to become an AFLW nuffy and you guys need to come along for the ride with me. So anything I get wrong or don't say correctly, let me know respectfully down in the comments. Please help me learn. and I'll get there like everybody else as well. So thank you. Keep up with us on the socials. Marnie does this. I don't do this bit. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. We don't have Snapchat. You'll be able to find us. Instagram, we're most active on. Facebook, we try and be really active on. Twitter and TikTok, we're going to try and get better, I promise. Anyway, I'm going to record, I'm going to edit and get all this podcast out, and I'm tired. I've been working all day. All right, guys, talk to you soon, and yeah, good luck. We got the Houston coming.